Hello YouTube, this is Evil Twin X here again with episode 17 of my Atlas lathe restoration. And if you've been following along, you know what's next. Some funky music, some creative editing, and some super fast motion cleaning coming right up. So sit back and enjoy. So I can see why this was turning really slow. Some of these rollers here are just caked with dried grease. And I have to do a little scraping to get it off. It's almost like tar. See right here? I'm trying to do it so I don't scratch anything. Look at that one. Can't even see the roller. So I'm guessing that's why the countershaft was spinning really slow. I'm glad I took it apart. What I found works a little bit better than using the pick or the brush is to actually soak it and then run my finger like over the rollers. Kind of helps loosen everything up and I guess forces the cleaner and all the nooks and crannies. But you still have to resort to the pick every so often. Here's a little bit of a before and after. These are the races. Haven't cleaned this one yet, obviously. Can't get it 100%, but once again, I'm not going for museum quality. Just want something that's quiet, usable. I'm not causing any more damage. But this is why I'm doing it. So there's these two felt washers. I think maybe I shouldn't have soaked them in the industrial cleaner, but they're in there now. So I don't know if I can get these replacements. This one's sort of falling apart. So I'm going to try and set these off to the side and have them soaking in some water to help dilute the cleaner so they don't disintegrate these further. So this spindle was super caked and it pretty much cleaned itself just laying here while I was cleaning all these other parts, which is good. But I'll give this a good wipe down, making sure the threads are clear. Try to scoop a lot of that grease out. And there's also these grease holes. I want to make sure that that they're free and clear as well. One thing that I did notice, and boy, this was tough cleaning a lot of this stuff up, And I think it's because it was grease and not just dried oil. This thing was on there like tar. But I was like, some of these rollers are frozen. But if you look closely, this here is not a roller. That's not a roller. That's not a roller. They're sort of support brackets to hold these rings together. So once I realized that, everything else was a piece of cake. But as you can see, there's no dried up grease on these at all. So when these are repacked, here's a little bit in there. When these are repacked, I'm hoping that everything spins free and clear. So just going to spend a little time cleaning this up. And I also put those felt washers in this water solution, sort of dilute the cleaning, industrial cleaning solution chemicals, because I didn't want to disintegrate these, but I am going to look into replacements. So I was hoping to start putting this back together once I dried everything off, but I'm going to call Clausing and see if they have replacements of these. Alright, well, in any case, let me finish with the spindle. Alright, well, I'm all done with the cleaning, so let's do a little bit of review. Here are the collars, 3 of them. They're nice and clean. Everything is sprayed right now with WD, but I'm happy the way these came out. In here are the felt washers, and I still have them. They're all black, but I did order replacements, and those came in. I figured, why not? Some of the new ones. Here are the bearings, and they're all really clean. See if we can zoom in. Nice and clean, unlike my fingernail. And everything spins freely. So, loving that. Little area right there I missed. And we have the race. This is one race. Both of them. See if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. Now I did notice on one of these races there is a pattern in there. I don't know if you can see. Almost looks like threading. And I thought that, there you go, you can see. I thought that was like from the bearings wearing on it, not being properly greased. And you can see this one's smooth. But there is a slight spiral pattern to it, and I The consensus on the Machinist Web forum is that that might be a leftover process from the manufacturing, because I really can't feel them. And if I was to close my eyes and you would switch these around, I could almost barely perceive which one has that pattern and which one's the smooth one. So I'm going to keep my eye out for a replacement, but I'm pretty confident that once these are packed with grease, there shouldn't be any issues. But these were black. Everything was black from the grease. So that was cleaned up nicely. The end caps, nice and shiny. And here we have the spindle. And this is nice and clean. I don't know if you remember, this was all like black in here. And I spent a lot of time cleaning out these holes. They did have grease in them. The grease was a bit old. And I used Q-tips, a lot of Q-tips actually, to get in there and make sure that everything, all the old grease was out and that these holes are clear. Because apparently when this is filled with grease, you fill up the capper grease and you put this on just a couple of threads, and every so often as you use the lathe you turn this and that will slowly squeeze the grease out this hole and into the bearings and keep everything nice and lubricated. So that's that for those parts. Here we have the bracket. If you remember, it was all caked with sawdust and oil in here, and that almost looks like a brand new piece. Just a little bit of some paint wore off, but that is a nice shiny piece of casting. Happy with that. Here are the pulleys. Nice and clean. Looks good. And the last piece is the actual countershaft bracket. The motor would sit underneath here. I have the handle. I took this off when I moved the lathe. I thought that would be one of the first things that would bust in the move. So I have that safely stored. But this, once again, almost looks brand new. So, pretty happy. I felt no need to take this part completely apart. Everything moves really smooth, and you know, I'll just hit that with a little bit of oil. So, to recap, alright, there we have the complete parts for the countershaft assembly, and next video will be about putting all the stuff back together, and I'll be one step closer to getting the lathe up and running. And thanks for sticking with me, guys. Thanks for watching. Evil Twin X signing off.